going on, guys? John Elder here from codemy.com, and in this video, we're gonna use a foreign key to link our users to our posts for our app with Flask and Python. All right, like I said, in this video, we're gonna set up a foreign key with a one-to-many relationship so that we can link our blog post to our users. And up until now, we've got the ability to add a blog post, but here we could just type in whatever author we want. And then when we go to the post, when we click on one, it says whatever we typed, but then anybody can edit these, anybody can delete them and all that good stuff. And we don't want that. We only want the correct user to be able to do that. We haven't set up who the correct user is. We haven't associated these two things together, the posts and the users. And that's what we need to do in this video. And there's actually a lot to do here. This is a little bit different than what you would do in like a Django or something like that. It's similar, but a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the post. And I'm just going to delete all of our posts just to start fresh here. And I'm also going to log out and go to our users. And I'm going to delete all of our users too, because, we could probably hack around this without doing this, but this is just going to make it a lot easier. Start fresh, no users, no posts. Since we're just playing around here, we can do that without any problems. All right, so let's head over to our code. I'm using the Sublime Text Editor and the Git Bash terminal as always. And as always, you can find a link to the code in the pinned comment section below, as well as a link to the playlist with all the other Flask videos in this series. So check that out if you haven't so far. All right, so I'm in my hello.py file, and I just went all the way down to the bottom of the file where we have our models. And we've got a users model and a post model. And what we need to do is associate these two together. So a user can have many posts. A post can have one user. So it's a one-to-many or many-to-one, however you want to say that. One-to-many, I think, is the official way to think about this relationship, right? So if you want to Google SQL Alchemy one-to-many relationships, you can learn a little bit more about it. We're just going to jump right in and do this. So what we need to do here is, this is our post. And right now we have an author. And I'm just going to comment this out. So we're going to have to update the database. We're going to have to migrate in a minute here. But we don't need an author anymore. Now we're going to associate these posts with a user. And the author is just going to be whoever the user is. So we don't need an author field. So I'll just comment that out. And now we need to create a foreign key to link users. And this foreign key is going to refer to the primary key of the user, right? So you'll notice we've got a primary key right here of ID. Post also has a primary key. Both of these posts really need an ID primary key. So we've got that for both of those already. So that's good. So how do we create a foreign key for our post? Well, I'm going to create this. I'm going to call it poster_ID because when we're making a post, we're posting, we're a poster, right? Call it anything you want, but it's kind of nice to sort of use words like this that are descriptive that help keep track of these relationships, because this can get a little confusing, right? So the poster ID, it's going to equal a db.column like we always have here, right? You notice we've always got our db.columns, right? So db.column, and this is going to be a db.integer, just like our primary key up here. This is going to be a number, right? And what is it going to be? Well, it's going to be a db.foreign key, right? And this is a function. And now we need to say, what's this going to be associating with? Well, it's going to be associating with our users model. So that's users.id. Why ID? Because that's the column right here that we want to associate with. We want to say, hey, the poster ID for this post is whatever the ID is for that user, right? That kind of makes sense. Now, one thing that's kind of weird, you'll notice this is an _u for users, but our class here is actual uppercase users. And the reason why it's lowercase here doesn't really matter, but if you're curious, it's because this is actually querying the database. And in the database, the table, it's a lowercase u. Whereas right here, this is the class where it's an uppercase u. So there's a distinction between the two. That's why that's that way. If you're curious, it doesn't really matter at all, but that's that. So let's see, that should be good enough. So now down here in our users class, we also need to do some stuff. So let's say a user can have many posts, right? So this is a one-to-many relationship. So let's create a variable called posts because our user is going to have posts, right? Plural, many posts. So I'm just going to call this posts. And then this is going to be a db.relationship. And what's it going to be a relationship on? Well, the posts class up here. And you'll notice this is an uppercase P, whereas this over here was a lowercase u. It's a little confusing, but this we're actually referencing that class. We're not referencing a call to the database. So it's an uppercase P. And then we have to create a sort of reference, a back reference. And we do that with back, ref. And we want to name this something. I'm just going to call it poster, right? So this poster will create sort of like a fake column up here, and it'll sort of keep track of this. And then later on, whenever we're trying to get each post's author name, we'll reference that poster dot something. So if we want to get the username, we would call poster.username. If we want to get the name, we would call poster.name. If we want to get the email, we would reference poster.email. So that's what this is. So, okay, pretty good. And that's pretty much it. So now we've created this relationship between our posts and our users. The post has a poster ID. So whenever we make a blog post, we're saying, hey, the author, the poster ID is whatever the ID is of our user. And then this user, we can reference all of the stuff in this user class by referencing this poster thing, which we'll see in just a minute. So, okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and save this. Now we've made all kinds of crazy changes to the database, so we need to make a migration and push that migration as we would anytime we have some crazy database stuff going on. So let's come back to our terminal. I'm in my C/Flask directory. I've got my virtual environment turned on, and let's create a migration. So let's go Flask db and then migrate -m, and let's give this a little message, added foreign key, whatever. Whoa, all kinds of problems. Oh, let's take a look at this, see what happened here. We need this to be in quotation marks. All right, that looks good. All right, okay, it's Friday. What can I say? All right, let's clear the screen and try this again. So Flask db migrate -m, added foreign key. Okay, and then let's go Flask db upgrade. Okay, looks good. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. Let's go Flask run, and let's test this guy out. Not really much to see right now. If we go to register, we need to create some users again. So let's go real quick, John Elder, and this is codemy, john@codemy.com. Favorite color, I don't know, blue. And password 123, password 123. Submit. Okay, so let's register again. Let's go Tim Elder. And username tim@tim.com, favorite color red, password 123, password 123. Okay, so we've got our two users. Now let's log in as John Elder. So if we go to our add post page, we see that it still has author there. So we need to get rid of that. So let's head back over to our code. And let's go to our templates/add post. And let's come down here and find author, and there's that. So we can get rid of that. Go ahead and save this. Come back over here, hit reload. Okay, so that's gone. But now we need to do something on the back end to sort of associate these things together. So we can do that. Let's head back over to our hello.py file, and let's search for our add post function, and here it is. And here's where we're posting to the database. And I'm going to create a variable called poster, and I'm going to set that equal to current_user.id. So this is whoever's logged in at the moment. This is their ID number. We're going to assign it to this variable poster. And then let's come in here, and this line right here is where we're sort of defining what we're going to post to the database when we click the button. And you'll notice we've got this author field right there, which we don't want to update anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that. And instead, I'm going to put that poster ID, set that equal to poster. So poster is obviously this thing right here we just defined, the current user's ID. And poster ID is way back down here in our model. We just set this up. This is the foreign key thing, right? So, okay, I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and save this page. Head back over to the website, hit reload for good measure. And let's say John Elder's post, none. This is a test. And moment of truth, we click here, submit. Uh-oh, something went horribly wrong. What happened? Let's head back over here. And oh, I know. Let's go to our web forms and our post form. We've got this author, right? And we've got this as a validate whatever. So let's go ahead and take out that validation. I believe that will do the trick. Now when we submit this, boom, post was submitted successfully. All right. Now when we go to post, you see it says here by none. What's going on there? Well, we still have to update this page here, the actual posts page. So if we come over here to posts.html and come down here, and you'll see here it says posts author. So remember, we set up this whole thing with poster. That was back in our hello.py file way down here when we created this back reference. Remember I mentioned this, which allows us to call anything in here, username, name, email, etc. So if we come back here and call just post.post, this will return the object, which is not what we want, but we can come back here and hit reload and you see we get the object, right? But we can now reference whatever we want out of here. So we could call poster.name. If we do that, come back here and hit reload, boom, John Elder. I mean, we could get crazy and call email, right? So, I mean, like I said, you can reference anything in our user's model. So that's pretty much it. We're done here. So let's go ahead and change this back to name. Save this. Now, when we click on this guy to go to the actual page, you'll notice it's still blank here because we have to update it on that page as well. So that is singular post, I believe, and it's still post.author. So if we went poster.name, same thing, come back here, hit reload, boom, there we go. If we go to edit this, we're going to get an error there because our edit page is all messed up also. So let's go, let's see what, edit post. And here we don't need an author class, so we'll get rid of that. Save that, come back, hit reload. Still having trouble there. Let's see. We need to go back to our hello.py file. And instead of add post, this is going to be what? Update underscore post, or no, edit underscore post. Yeah, there we go. And same thing here. We need to get rid of this post.author. And same thing here. And I should mention in the add underscore post section, I think I forgot this right here. We need to comment this form.author data out. You might be able to get away with it. You might not. Just go ahead and comment it out. So, all right, so let's save all that. Head back over here. Try this guy again. Okay, now it works. So John Elder's post 2. We submit this guy. Post has been update. We go back to our post. There it is. And everything works. So we can log out here and we can log back in with Tim, and that's password 123. And then come back over here and you'll notice all of this stuff is still showing. We'll deal with that in the next video. But for now, I just want to add a blog post as Tim. Tim's post, none, test, just to see if this worked. All right, successful. Go back to our post. Here it says Tim Elder and there it says John Elder. So it's clearly making a distinction about who's who, right? And very cool. And like I said, in the next video, we'll talk about how to get rid of these buttons if you're not the correct logged in user. We should probably be able to figure that out on our own. We've already done that with other things here, I think. So it should be really easy, but yeah, that's all there is to it. So that's how you create a one-to-many relationship. One user can have many posts. Posts can have only one user, right? And a little bit tricky, but not too bad. So that's all for this video. If you liked it, be sure to smash the like button below, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and check out codemy.com where you can use coupon code YouTube1 to get $30 off membership. So page is $49 to access all my courses, over 47 courses, hundreds of videos, and the PDFs of all my best-selling coding books. Join over 150,000 students learning to code just like you. My name is John Elder from codemy.com, and I'll see you in the next video.